Hello and welcome back to this channel. So in today's tutorial, we're going to take a little trip to Netherlands and go visit some tulip fields. What I mean is we're going to draw this beautiful landscape today. So let's just get started. I'm going to go ahead and create a postcard sized artboard. For that, you can either click on the custom size or click on create new here. Let's just click on create new. And if you go into print, here you can see something called a small postcard. By the way, if this is not in landscape mode, there's a tiny arrow here, and if you click on it, it'll give you an option to switch to landscape, and we will be using this small postcard in landscape mode. So just click on that. So I've provided a sketch and a color palette for you guys, so go ahead and pick it up from the link in the description box below. Okay, so once you have downloaded the sketch and the color palette onto your iPad or any device that you're using, go ahead and bring it into Fresco. That is, you can just click on this image right here, go to your photos and bring it in. So this is the sketch, and once you have it, click on done. Now let's go to the levels here, reduce the opacity up to about 30 or any number that you like, and go ahead and click on the multiply option here in the blend mode. I'm just going to go ahead and move this somewhere here so that it does not come in between. So now let's go ahead and bring in the color palette. So once you have it, I'm just going to increase the size so that it's a little big and move it in the center. Click on done. And all I'm going to do is click and hold on the color. That is, let me just click and hold on this yellow, and that gets picked up. And I'm just going to go ahead and draw on my artboard. It doesn't matter which brush you're on, just draw on the artboard. It creates a new layer automatically. So we're going to go ahead and do that to all the colors so that all these colors show up under our recent tab. So let's just do that. By the way, when you're picking a color, it automatically shows up here on the screen that the HSP value, just in case you want to know what that color is or something like that. Okay, so once you've picked up the sketch, go ahead and uncheck this layer by clicking on this I button, and this one as well will hide it. Okay, so let's start drawing. The brush that we're going to use for this illustration is going to be Belgium Comics, and we're going to set it at 70. Now let's go ahead and click on a new layer, and we're going to start painting. The first we're going to do the tulip fields. So the painting that we are doing, or the illustration that we are doing, is not going to be realistic. That is, we're not going to go ahead and draw each tulip flower one by one, because that doesn't make sense. It'll take ages to finish it. So we're going to go ahead and use some tricks to make it look like tulips or flowers, but in reality it's just some scribbles. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and choose my brush, that is Belgian Comics, that is under ink and then Belgian Comics, and I'm going to set it at 70. By the way, you can click and hold, and then you get the screen, and you can type in 70, and then your brush is set to 70. Cool, isn't it? All right, so first I'm going to go into my color palette, and I want some really dark green. So I'm going to choose something really dark green over here, whichever the darkest green that you have, and I will just draw it so that it covers this area here like this. I'm trying to be a bit careful so that there's a nice layer right here like that. Okay, and I'll go to the fill tool and try to fill it in. Oops, because that's not let me just try to make sure that it's a closed path. Because we're going to use the fill tool over here, you can go ahead and fill it like this with the brush itself, but I'm too lazy for that, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go into my fill tool and click and fill it up. And then if you see all these streaks, you can go back to your Belgian Comics brush and just cover it. You actually don't have to do this because you're going to be drawing the fields here, the flowers here. All right, that's done. And now we're going to hide it because I can't see my sketch. That's the only reason I'm doing that. Okay, so once you hide it, now let's start painting some flowers. So you can choose any colors that you want. I do have a set of colors that I've given you here. That's pink, orange, and red, yellow, etc. You can use that. If not, you can choose any color that you want. I'm going to choose some pink. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to fill it up, but I'm just going to go ahead and scribble like this. But I'm going to make sure that I'm within these two lines here. So let me just do that. There's a rogue stroke. Okay, all I'm going to do is scribble. See, I'm just scribbling here and not really bothering about making proper strokes. So you can put a lot of pressure in some places and little pressure in some places, and just scribble the way, just scribble, keep on scribbling. And you don't have to stick to like exactly within the lines. You can go a little bit outside, that's okay. And maybe here I'll try to make it a little denser. Go all the way till this top line. By the way, you can fill it with this color too, because we're going to add the greens on it, okay? So once you have that ready, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and pick a green. I'll choose the lightest green that I have, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add here and there some scribbles. If you look at the way I'm scribbling, I'm not really concentrating on it. I'm just scribbling. Just make sure you don't add a lot because we need some flowers. So these are tiny, tiny scribbles. You could try to add it in the white spaces. You don't have to fill it up. Just add a bit here and there, okay? Okay, once you have that, now it's time to add it in this side. So what we're going to do is we're going to scribble again, and we're going to make sure that we cover this part here. So this side is completely covered, and over here we're just going to scribble like that. So let me just scribble so that this part is covered. I mean, there's no white gap between this green and the pink. If this seems very difficult and you're not getting the effect that you're hoping to get, don't worry, just continue doing this. Keep some trust in the process and just keep doing this, and you will see the result in the end, okay? All right, so once you have that, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to choose some dark green, but not the darkest green that we chose earlier for the background. So I'll choose some darker green that I have, and I'm going to draw within this line. You see this line here, this line? Yeah, we're going to draw only till there, like this. Like that. You can just scribble, 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 and maybe add a little like that. And when you're doing that, let's get back here and try to fill in a little bit of spaces here and there. Usually wherever you have green, I'm going to add a bit of, darker color here like that. So don't worry, we'll come back with the pink later and try to color in as much as we can. But make sure there's a lot of pink, okay? And I can see that there's a lot of green right now. All right, so now that we have the green, it's time to go and do on this side. So now here I'm going to go ahead and put this dark green so that it covers the pink lines here, like that. I'll divide this into two parts so that it's dark green on the right side now. And we're gonna go ahead and choose this green. You can click and hold to choose that color, or go back to your color palette and do that. And then we'll do a bit of green here like this. This is the lighter one. I call this scribble art, okay? All right, so now I see that there's a lot of pink missing, like pink is just gone. So I'm going to go back to my pink and try to add more pink here. Maybe you can add a bit here, make it a bit wider. That looks good. Now if you go ahead and turn on the dark layer, you can see the dark green shows up in those white areas, so you don't have to worry about that. So I'll uncheck that. All right, so now it's time to move on to the next color. I'm going to do the same thing to yellow here, but meanwhile, let me just erase this. Go here and, I'm going to decrease the size of the eraser and erase this off. Okay, now you can choose a completely different layer or continue doing it here as well. I'm going to continue doing it here because I can. So I'm going to choose a yellow now. Go back to your brush and I'm going to add yellow. So you can just add yellow here like that. Here you can make it completely yellow if you want. And now again, it's light green. So go to the lighter one. I'm going to color this here like that. Let's take the darker green now and add it to the other end of it like that. So you see, I'm not scribbling too much here, but I'm trying to cover this area now. All right, and I'll add a bit of color here and there. And I'll choose the other one. Let me uncheck that and just see how it looks like. And like I said, we can always come back and fix this. All right, we're going to do the same thing to the next one that is orange. So we're not going to do this to the entire thing. So let me just show you what I'll do over here. I'm going to go ahead and choose some red color, maybe this one. Click on a new layer, obviously. And I'm just going to color this off like this. So I'm going to color all these things as well. So I want pink again for this. And I think I'm going to go with some green, or maybe this lighter green. Maybe this one. You know what? I'm going to bring the sketch up because I want to see like if I'm drawing it correctly. For example, I don't like how this has come out because it needs to be in an angle. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the eraser tool and slightly erase it off. You don't have to erase it. You can put some other color on top of it, but I'm doing it so that it's much more convenient for me. Okay, and I want to choose the darker green that I have. I'll choose this one. Go to your brush and I'm going to color this. Looks good. There's a bit here, so I'm going to fix that. And then I would like this one to be red and this one to be orange. So let me go ahead and choose orange, bright orange, and draw this. I'm going to choose a new layer just because I can. I'm going to go ahead and do the darker orange, and I'll just put it to half of this. Use the dark red. Okay, let's choose the lighter green, and I'm going to add it just below here. And let's choose the darker one, and let's do that here. Okay, and add a bit here and there. Okay, and we can do the same thing here. All right, that looks good, and I'm just going to check that, and okay, that looks fine to me. Although I would like a little more yellow, I guess, and a little more pinkish and all that, but that's fine. Let's uncheck that. And now we have to finish this side now. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing for red and pink. Let me choose a purple, and I'm going to go ahead and add it over here. Let's add some other colors, like again, maybe orange, and then pink, maybe the lightest orange. And let's go ahead and choose the green. We're going to do the same thing, right? We're going to add it here. Darker color. Okay, so that's ready, and now we can go ahead and uncheck this, and now you can see that your tulip fiends are almost ready. So if you feel like you need more color here, you can just go back into your pink and try to cover, or you have to go to that level, by the way, wherever you have the color, and just try to give in more color here and there like that. Okay, that's pretty simple as that. And let me do that for yellow here, because I think it would be nicer if there's more yellow. Okay, so that looks good, but we are not done with this yet because we need to add highlights, but we'll come back to that in the end probably. So that now let's go ahead and draw the sky. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the bottommost layer, whichever layer that is, and click on a new layer so that now we can concentrate on the sky. So for sky, I'm going to choose this blue here. If I slide it down, you can see it's 201, 110, and 100. Just so that you know which blue you're choosing. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'll just click on the fill tool here and click, and then color it with a pixel brush. Okay, and once that is done, now it's time to add some clouds to it. So I'll click on a new layer because you have to always click on a new layer. Now I'll uncheck this. Let's choose white because I think that looks good, and not fill. Go back to your brush now. We're gonna draw some clouds. So for clouds, I'm going to increase this a little bit to maybe about 90s. Now press so that you get these nice fluffy looking clouds like this, and then we're gonna drag it out so that, let me just uncheck the sketch so that you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, so that we get these thinner lines here. So let me just show you how Belgium brush works. If you don't put any pressure, there's a thin line, but if you put pressure, there's a thick line, right? So you're going to use that technique here. So I'm just going to draw like this and put a thin and thick line like that. Okay, and up here we're going to draw one more that's add a bit of this one here and add a thin line here. Okay, I know it doesn't make sense right now, but you'll see what happens. So I'll bring back the sketch because I want to see where this windmill is, so that I can add a bit of a cloud here as well, like that, and maybe like this. And let's do a bit of clouds here like that. And obviously we need in the corner, you always put clouds in the corner because there's always clouds in the corner, I guess. And okay, like that, and maybe one here. And yeah, that's okay. And now let's go to the next blue, lighter blue that we have, and I'm going to go ahead and add a bit of under, like a shadow over here. Okay, and you can see what I'm doing. If you cannot, let me just do that. Oh, this disappeared. I think I undid that. So I'm going to go back to white and add not that much, like that. Okay, let's go back to the light blue that I have, and I'm going to add a bit like that, and in here as well, and this as well. So over here you're going to do something like this, and maybe like this. I think that looks good. That's fine. In here, let's do like that, like this. And obviously here as well, we're going to add some color. And I want a bit of cloud here. As you can see, you can't really see it. I hope you can see it on the screen. Okay, all right, our dramatic sky is ready, and now let's go ahead and click on a new layer, and we're going to draw this foliage here. Okay, so the first thing is I'm going to choose this color, and this is 204, 20 and 82, and we're going to draw some trees in the background. So I haven't drawn everything, I guess, so I'm just going to go ahead and draw, scribble again, just scribble like this. Just make sure you cover the bottom, and you don't have to put things everywhere. Let's add some here behind the, you know, the windmill, and obviously here some as well. Okay, so that's good. Now click on a new layer, and now we're going to choose a really dark color. I will choose something like a dark green, I guess. And now let's go ahead and click on a new layer because we don't want to edit that layer at all. So I'm going to go ahead and draw this now. You can reduce the size to 70 again if that's easier to handle, by the way. Draw that. And since we are in the background, it's okay if you go below, you know, it doesn't matter. Okay, I realized one thing, I shouldn't have used this color for the whole thing, but that's okay. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we'll choose a green, that is the dark green that we used earlier to give for the background or something like that. And we're actually going to color some of this back to this green because I should have colored it like that. So I'm just going to color, but as you can see, I'm not coloring the whole thing now. I'm just coloring some of it like this. It's barely visible on the screen, so I hope you can see it. Okay, so now that's ready as well, and let's go ahead and draw the windmill now. So I'm going to go ahead and click on a new layer. It's going to be behind these bushes, so we could go ahead and put it behind now, but let's do it later. Okay, so let's go ahead and choose the browns that we have. So the first brown that I'm going to choose is really light. That's 23, 41 and 77, and I'm just going to go ahead and color it to this part and just put it only here. You can reduce the size if you feel this is like a little too big for you. I mean, if you cannot control the brush strokes. Okay, and now we're going to slowly move on to the next brown that we have, and that is this one. That's 22, 53, and 71. So let's go ahead and color that. We're good. And now the darker color, I think it's this one. Yes, okay. So that was 24, 64, and 58. I'm going to color it here like that. And now it's the darkest brown that you have on your thing. I mean, it's not the darkest, I guess. There's one more which is darker than this, but we're going to use that one here. Okay, what you can do now is uncheck the sketch just to take a look at how things are going. Yeah, so okay, that looks fine. Don't worry, we'll try to fix these things here. Like, I'm going to click on this color and try to fix it like this. All right, I think that looks good. Go back to the sketch and open it up again. And now let's go ahead and choose the really dark brown that we have, that is 21, 78, and 23. And now we're going to go ahead and add these things over here. So for example, and this one, I'm going to make it completely like that. And even this one. And this one. And then you just add bit with really low pressure. Don't put a lot of pressure, then you get like really thick lines. You can decrease the size of the brush here if you want. So the brush size that I recommend is just a recommendation. It's not like you have to use that size itself. Use whatever size is comfortable for you. Let's see. Okay, that looks good. But now I need to add some highlights here. Not highlights, but I need to define some things here. Okay, so I'm going to add a bit of a thing like that. And I'm going to add these lines here. And you can add one here. This one I'm going to add a little bit here and here. So what I mean is, I'm going to show it to you guys. If I uncheck this, so I didn't add the complete lines, I just added a little bit. Okay, so if I scroll out, you can see this is what we created right now, right? But like I said, it's not over. So I've unchecked the sketch, and it's pretty good time to add some definition to this painting. So I'm going to go ahead to the topmost layer and click on a new layer, and I'm going to choose some really dark green, or you can choose some black. I think I'm going to choose a really dark green, I guess. I think this is green. Anyway, the one I chose is 282, 45, and 15. And if I uncheck that, okay, and I'll use that green now, and it's at 70, and I think that should be fine. And I'm going to add some lines to it so that, you know, I know where things are starting or ending. So as you can see, I didn't continue the line, right? Because then it doesn't look good. It looks very artificial. So I'm just going to go ahead and add an edge to this. Is this green? Hopefully this is green. If not, what you can do is you can just choose any green that you want, like this, and just pull it down so that it gets, you know, really dark green. And I'm going to do that, and let's just do that now. I think I like a bit of dark green here, like that. Something here as well. Okay, and I'm okay with this. Okay, but I want this to be a little more, you know, towards the darker side. So let me just do that. Okay, that's good. And I'll go back to that green that I had, and you can add some here as well to the corners like that. And you know, some here as well. Okay, I'm going to add a bit here as well. Okay, and let me go ahead and add some here. Want some in the purple, and this, wait, that's too thick. Use your two finger to undo things for you. Just add some, you know, lines like this. Okay, that looks good, but we are not done yet. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the, you don't have to choose it from there. You can just click and hold and choose this dark green here. I mean, this green. And what I'm going to do now is, I don't like how plain these green things are. So I'll go ahead and draw some lines. Let me undo that. I should do it like this in this direction. It's the same color now. It's a bit darker, so perfect. That's okay. And we need to do it here as well. Okay, and then I'm going to add a bit on the orange, so we have to go above that orange layer. Okay, so that it doesn't look all plain, you know, maybe a little bit. And I think that's it. We have come to the end of this tutorial, and let me just show it to you guys. Well, this is the postcard that you have drawn from one of the tulip fields in Netherlands. So I hope you liked this tutorial. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to hit on that like button and the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notified every time I post a new video. You can always support me by buying me a coffee on ko-fi.com. And by the way, thank you so much for all those people who have bought me a coffee so far. That is so sweet of you. If you don't have the means to support me through coffee, it's okay. You can always share my videos with your friends and family, or using your social media like Instagram, etc., so that people can come find my channel. I left a message in the community tab asking what you'd like me to draw on this channel. So if you have any requests, please go make sure to leave those requests in that post. You can also reply in the comments below. Okay, I guess I'll see you in the next video then. Bye-bye.